So we have the beautiful sage doing really well, and that was grown last year. Only I think 3 plants remain inside, and I transplanted 2 of them outside. So from just 2 to 3 plants you'll get a fantastic crop that will provide you with food and medicinal herbs for many months of the year if you learn how to preserve them. And this is the first sign of growth from the chamomile this year, again regrowing from last year's plant. I thought I had it all removed because I wanted to grow it outside. It's quite a big plant when it gets fully established, but happy to see it there returning this year. Now all of these salads have totally bolted, so they all have to be removed, which I'm going to do in just a few moments. I'd planted out in early spring some carrot plants, and they're all thriving, doing really well, and I will soon remove those from the ground. And I also have up here some fennel. Fennel is doing great. I've already harvested one and preserved it, and I have another one to go. So this is all the fresh growth from spring, all about to take off. Planted in some fresh coriander. Now coriander I found does not like the heat, so I was trying to get as much grown before it gets really warm in here, and just take it in and dry it and preserve it. And a few radish plants coming through here. So all in all, happy with what's growing, and a few more little bits to plant out. Don't be intimidated by other people's gardens and think they know better than you. Everyone has a starting point, and if the desire is there to grow your own, that should be enough. Just get started, buy some seeds, a little bit of compost, a few pots, and the rest will take care of itself. Now I've planted out some ornamental seed as well for some flower or hanging baskets, and in this tray I have some petunia. I've been growing this under a grow light inside. Now I've just transplanted it out into these modular cells, so I'm going to leave them a few days before I put them into the hanging baskets. But just to let you see what's going in there, I'm going to put in some petunia, some nasturtium, and to use up what I have outside I'm going to try a little bit of lavender, and what else do I have? Calendula, and I think that's it. So if I get those growing in hanging baskets I'd be very happy, and they should put on a good display midsummer. There's something about just planting your own, no matter what it is. These have grown really well, and they need to be planted out now. They're getting quite yellow and they need more space, the roots do. So I'm looking forward to see what these are like. They really need more space, and they were talking to me. You know the way you pass seedlings by and you just know it's their time to be planted on, and sometimes you're just too busy to get around to it. So it's so important to make the time, and plants really do communicate with you. They have their way of getting the message across to you. Now for today's work I've removed the winter salads, and the bed is now ready for more compost on the far side, and I've just hung up these strings, and they will support the zucchini, cucumber and tomato plants as they grow and get stronger and need that support, because I grow them all vertically, and that just makes best use of the space inside. And I'm quite confident after last year that they will do pretty well again this year. So that's as it looks. I have my flower baskets planted out with nasturtium, petunia. I also put into the bigger baskets some calendula and lavender and hyssop. I probably overplanted them, but I just want to see what result I get from planting out my own seed in terms of ornamental flower. All experimental. And then for the compost bin we have 2 trailer loads ready to go and 1 full basket down here. So happy with the day's work, bringing in some nettle there to preserve, and I have my salad for tea along with some beautiful sage flowers there. So all in all, very happy with the few hours I spent, so it's a good feeling all around. Left a few of the red salad leaves. I'll still eat off those until the new seedlings start to appear and provide us with food.
Mid-May brought the first flower from the zucchini plant. I'd like to thank Tom and Frederica for the gift of these mullein plants. A wonderful herb, very beneficial for the respiratory system. It's anti-inflammatory. It's very soothing and healing of inflamed surfaces or swollen joints. Helps to calm the nerves. So a wonderful herb, and I look forward to planting that out along the bank with the other herbs.
Just a quick little tour of the garden. It's just coming towards the end of May. We have had a fabulous week of weather. Very high temperatures, up into the high 20s, which is so unusual for Ireland, especially at this time of year. And everything has just burst into life. Along here we see our garlic. It's really thriving at the moment, and I'm trying to keep it in the ground until mid-June. I've tested out a few of them and they're not ready yet, but they're really doing well and looking very strong. So I have a mix there of 4 beds of garlic and a few more on my right over here. I removed some of the lettuce that had bolted in between them, so they're a little bit raggy at the moment, and I have to replenish the compost, which I'll do in the coming days. So I have garlic and some spring onions, or bulb onions. I've red and white, and again they're starting to, the bulb is starting to form at the moment and thicken up at the end. And I have some sweet pea, and here we have some kale. It has bolted, but in between the kale I have some new seedlings coming along, but I left the old kale there because the bees love the flower, and I also put the flower on my salad as well. It's all edible and beautiful and adds a bit of splash of colour to the garden. And the potatoes, as you'll see there, all coming along really well. So they're all in the no-dig beds, and I'm very happy with how it's all going. And along here I have some celery, which just regrew from last year's planting, and I put in a few new seedlings there at the end. I have lots of kale underway in this bed. So we have fresh kale, all coming along really nicely due to the lovely weather. We just removed the heads from these last week, and already this is only one plant, and it's so giving. And I'm going to just remove one of the heads and use this direct as a sprinkle over the top of my salad this evening. But a lovely plant, and again I also dry it and use it in a tea. And I also have some cauliflower and broccoli, and over on this side we have some turnip along with some cabbage, and I have some carrots underneath the tunnel there, and some more mature carrots which really need to be taken out of the ground. They were planted in the winter months or late autumn last year, the woodland and alpine strawberries. So I removed the cover in May, just at the start of May, and again I see some weeds coming through here, so you have to act fast with weeds and just stay on top of them. If you can, try and dig down and get the roots. See the little flower coming through. The strawberry is starting to grow there, signs of life. Lots of little flowers appearing, so I'm pretty sure we'll get a return from them. So far so good. And along the border of this strawberry bed I've put in some evening primrose, and you'll see it there. I'm not sure, I ran out of space and I'd nowhere to plant all these seedlings last year, so I just popped them into the edge of the strawberry bed. They seem quite a big plant, so I just have to see how they do, but I might have to move them depending on how big they get. But interesting to see what they produce. So I just cleaned up the walkway on the way down, weeded out any signs of weeds coming through in the beds. Lots and lots of growth happening here. And it can feel quite overwhelming if you don't stay on top of it, so you need to give a few hours in your week to it. And it's great if you can get to it each day, an hour a day or half an hour a day, but sometimes that's not possible, and 3 or 4 hours spent one day a week, you can achieve an awful lot. So don't be deterred by the fact that you might not be able to get to your garden every day. I found the no-dig beds are proving to be really good in terms of weed control at the moment. Now, it was a lot of work to put them in, but I think you're rewarded. the other side of all that hard work, in that you don't have to be as vigilant when outside pulling weeds. They tend to take care of themselves. So that's it at the end of May. I tried to keep most of the herbs up there along the bank. The chamomile has self-seeded along the edge of the bank, but I'm going to leave it there. It's such a beautiful herb, and I love the smell and the taste of chamomile in my tea. So I have more of it down here, which I purposefully sowed, and I've lots of St. John's wort, and again some thyme down here. So all is looking good, all thriving. The garden is full of life. The hum of bees and birds and butterflies. Sadly, the butterfly is back, the white butterfly, but I think the plants, they're in earlier this year, so hopefully they should be stronger, and if they do undergo any attack from the caterpillar or butterfly, I'm confident they're going to be strong enough to survive it. It's a beautiful ripe fresh peas direct from our little plant here behind me, and they're just bursting with life at the moment. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 peas inside that pod, and they are so tasty and sweet and fresh. And there we have it, the first harvest of zucchini from this year's planting, and it's a medium-sized zucchini. Within days these would grow so vigorously you'd have a very large a piece of fruit to eat, and whether you want it large or small, I always recommend, because I've so many of them. I've 12 on the go at the moment, and they're all producing and starting to develop the fruits, which is the zucchini. I like to stay on top of it and harvest them as soon as they're about this size, but it won't be possible, I know, in the coming weeks, because they're just going to explode into life like all the rest of the plants in here. So just showing you, by the end of May, this is possible when you get your seeds in the ground and planted. And we have been fortunate enough to have really high temperatures for over the last week, and it's now the 30th of May, and it's a month. I think last year I planted them later, and I was getting a return from them mid-July. Am I right? Yeah, mid-July. So this is, a month and a half in advance of last year, and I'm getting these lovely fruits, and I will have plenty of these for an extended period of time this year to enjoy fresh from the polytunnel. Lots of ways to enjoy zucchini. So you can have the fruit is edible, and these flowers. And just another tip of mine that I found worked for me, again, the leaves grow really vigorously as well, so I like to keep the bottom leaves cut back. I just simply take them off. I don't have my pruners here with me, but this hopefully will do the job. They're quite prickly, so you might need gloves to do this, but I removed the lower leaves, and that just allows for air to ventilate a little bit more freely through the plant. And also, because I have planted a tomato in between the zucchini, I want to give some sunlight to these plants as well until they get stronger. So I'll always aim to leave maybe 6 or 9 of these leaves around the top for photosynthesis, and that the plant itself can absorb in natural sunlight, and that's really essential for the plant too. So you don't want to strip them all back. Leave maybe 8 or 9 of these larger leaves, so that they're like solar panels. They just take in sunlight energy, and that's essential too for the food that we are about to eat, that they are grown with lots of sunlight energy. You get your phytonutrients direct from the sun. So this is what we have from our organic carrot. They nearly look like legs, people. So that's a lot of green, and yeah, the carrots themselves very irregular in shape, but I'm sure they'll taste just fine. Big enough root there on the fennel. I have to say, in the warm weather they just grow so fast. So that's a fine piece of fennel, and the smell is beautiful. I just want to draw your attention here to this. Just pull out these carrots and look at that. one carrot was wrapped around the other like this in the ground. Isn't that beautiful? It's nearly like nature's embrace, nature's loving embrace. So I'm going to take them apart now, one from the other. What a lovely intention there, what a lovely idea, one fitting perfectly into the other. So there we go, lovely, beautiful.
I don't know what you call it, fronds from the fennel itself. And before I dehydrate, normally before I used to put this entire piece into the Vitamix, blend it up into a paste and dry it. But this time around I'm going to just simply try and remove the little hairs that go out from each of the stalks and put them, give them a little rinse maybe, and just put them, I don't even need to rinse them. They're so upright and out of the soil, they're not even touching the compost. So they can go straight into the dehydrator just as they are. So they come away really easily, and it just might speed up the process. And that's what I'm aiming to learn to do, is to speed up the way that I preserve food, because it really can. Anyone who's familiar with gardening, it can become very overwhelming once everything is ripe and in season and you need to make use of it or they spoil. And you want to get them at their peak. Colour is so vibrant, even the shades within the same plant. So this is like the internal stalks, the outer ones are a bit drier. They seem to have a bit of more moisture in them. They're lighter in colour. So all this from just one fennel plant. And I have 2 more left to harvest. So those 4 plants alone will provide an awful lot of food. I normally use them in a salad, direct in a salad, or I use them in kimchi, and they add a lovely flavour. And again, fennel is very, very good for your overall digestion. A little bit like chamomile, to just calm things down inside and aid with digestion of food. And once everything is calm, you have better absorption as well of the nutrients.
Sprinkle it on salads. You can also add it into tea, and fennel, again, very good for your overall digestion. We have the peas from earlier and the carrot. Some lovely rosemary. This plant was planted last year. It's getting a little bit stronger and more bushier, I can tell already, and it looks a lot healthier. And I've recently just moved it, actually a few days ago. It was here quite close to the fennel, and I just wanted to place it where it had some space on its own, and thankfully it seems to be doing okay with the move. And even just to smell rosemary is very healing and medicinal to the body. It's known to lift the spirits, so if you're feeling down in any way, or just you want a little bit of a boost of joy, happiness and good feelings in the mind, a little bit of parsley for tea, and I'll take a few salad leaves and I will be good to go. I have also put in some lovely radish. Now these grow quite large, so I like to take them when they're around this size, or a little bigger maybe, and I will use radish in my salad tonight as well. End of May, and this is what the Polytunnel has rewarded me with. So all of the hard work pays off. I've got fresh salad, I have zucchini, radish, herbs, calendula, fresh fennel, and lots of carrot there. So all organically grown from seed, and very, very beautiful to taste.